Imagine a man born into a world that deemed him less than human, chained by the brutal reality of slavery. This is the story of Frederick Douglass, a man whose spirit refused to be broken. Born in a cramped cabin in Maryland around 1818, he never knew his exact birthday, nor did he truly know his father. His mother was torn from him when he was just an infant. His early life was a canvas of hardship, hunger, and the stinging lash of the overseer's whip. The world told him he was property, destined for a life of forced labor, his mind and body owned by another. The dream of freedom, of literacy, of being seen as a man, must have felt like a distant, impossible star. But within this boy, a fire was kindled. His master's wife, against all laws and customs, began teaching him the alphabet. Though this brief education was quickly forbidden, the spark had caught. Frederick understood that knowledge was the key, the one thing they couldn't chain. He began to learn in secret, trading pieces of bread with poor white children for lessons. He devoured every scrap of text he could find, from newspapers to political pamphlets. Each word he learned was an act of defiance, a small victory in a war for his own mind. He once said, "Once you learn to read, you will be forever free." He wasn't just learning to read words. He was learning to read the world, to see the profound injustice that surrounded him. The more he learned, the more the chains of slavery chafed not just his wrists, but his very soul. The dream of escape, once a fantasy, became an obsession. His first attempt failed, landing him in even harsher conditions. Despair could have easily consumed him. He was sent to a notorious slave breaker, a man whose job was to crush the will of rebellious slaves through relentless brutality. For 6 months, Douglass endured constant beatings, but instead of breaking, he fought back. In a pivotal moment, he physically resisted his tormentor, a two-hour battle that ended in a draw. From that day on, he was never whipped again. He had discovered his own strength, the power of resistance. In 1838, at the age of 20, he made his second daring escape. Disguised as a sailor, carrying borrowed papers, he boarded a train north. Every heartbeat must have pounded like a drum. Every glance from a white passenger, a potential threat of discovery and a return to a life worse than death. But he made it. He stepped onto the free soil of New York, a free man. For a man who was raised to believe he was nothing, to achieve freedom was a miracle. But this was only the beginning of his impossible journey. He could have settled into a quiet, anonymous life. Instead, he chose to fight. He joined the abolitionist movement, and his voice, once silenced, now boomed across the nation. His speeches were electrifying. Here was a man who had lived the horrors of slavery, speaking with an eloquence and intelligence that shattered the racist caricatures used to justify the institution. He wrote his autobiography, Narrative of the Life of Frederick Douglass, an American slave, a powerful and damning expose that became a bestseller. He published his own anti-slavery newspaper, The North Star. He advised President Abraham Lincoln during the Civil War. pushing for emancipation and the right for black soldiers to fight for their own freedom. From a boy who wasn't allowed to know his own birthday, who secretly traded bread for letters, Frederick Douglass became one of the most famous and influential men of his century. He became a living testament to the idea that no chains, whether physical or mental, can permanently bind the human spirit. He achieved what was designed to be impossible. He not only freed himself, but dedicated his life to freeing millions. His journey reminds us that the fight for justice begins with a single, defiant act of hope. Thanks for watching. And if his story moved you, please like and subscribe for more.